All right, it's that time of the year. It's the monsoon in India, and it is the start of the Pune racing season 2022. We start this Thursday with 7 races and Friday 7 more. Joining me on this show today, it's all very exciting. I've got jockey B. Shrikant and Samir Aslam, who is, of course, the great Aslam Kader's son. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Samir, first, your impressions. It's always exciting when a new season starts.
We can't wait for this action-packed season to get along and get started. As we all know, Pune has its fair share of surprises, and the monsoon is going to add to it. So, what are your thoughts on that, Shrikant?
Absolutely. Pune is a fast track and they've revamped the track and it's one of the best monsoon tracks in the country. I'm excited to look forward to the races.
That's right. Now, Shrikant, you've ridden on this track so many times, and of course, it's important for us to understand that Pune can be pretty tricky. We've got a number of very talented 3-year-olds running on the first day, but the thing is that we've seen many good 3-year-olds have their colours lowered when they take on older horses in open company, in open class races. And, it's a tricky track. Are they going to need the run?
Yeah, absolutely. Fitness is of paramount importance in Pune, and also the pace which matters. Initially, from the word go, they have to get into a good posse because Pune has a short straight and a steep bend. So you can't be relaxed and in the attitude of laid-back racing just like in Mumbai. So you need to quicken faster. So the jockeys will have a very tough task to get over in the first 4 posies to come into the straight and fight it out.
All right, let's find out who's going to be able to do that. We've got a total of 7 races, as I said. Let's take a look at the first. It's a Class 5 race. Faisal Abbas has 4. Of his 4, I personally think Red Dust has the best chance. But the ones that I'm going to look at are the older horses, Selamore and Ame. Selamore from Narendra Lagad's yard and a winner in 2022 in Pune. He was carrying 58 kilos in this class on that occasion. He's back close to a winning mark, maybe a kilo or so off. But, you have to respect a Narendra Lagad horse in the first race of Pune each year. I'd be surprised if the stats didn't show that if there was a leading trainer for the first race in Pune every year, it would go to him. He's going to have to contend with Ame because Ame is working out slightly better on the scale than he is. They met before. The problem, of course, is Ame last won 2 years ago and is 10 years old now. Ame is better placed on the scale by more than a few kilos, and it's intriguing whether that compensates or not for the 2 years that that Ame is carrying this year. Subsequently, Ame won 2 races in Class 5. Winner in class, winner in Pune too. Let's see how it goes. My picks are Ame, Selamore and Red Dust. Samir?
Okay, so I tend to agree with you there. I think Ame is probably well placed here. And Ame, being a 10-year-old, I think is a little wary in the legs and might find it a little bit difficult with the younger company here. And Red Dust is drawn all the way out to 12, but has been doing some decent track work, the amount of track work that it has had. And Faisal Abbas has 4 runners in this field, so he definitely has the upper hand in the number of runners that he has in this field. And also Selamore, well, give it a decent chance as well. But for me, I personally would think that Ame, definitely has a good turn of foot and has been at the busy end quite a few times in its previous runs as well. So Ame it is for me, and I'd also give the edge to Red Dust if it can get itself into a good position early in the race. Could be something that could run really well, given the amount of given the track work that it's been showing. And also another one that I think is going to be a little bit well judged on form, it would be Anushka for me. I think Anushka, a good third last time out. If Anushka is building on that, I think Anushka should be right at the busy end. And, could be a good place prospect from my end.
Shrikant, what about you?
Absolutely. I tend to agree with Samir. Slight disagreement over there. Red Dust being drawn on the outside will be a slight advantage to get into a good posse in Pune in 6 furlong race. So, and also Red Dust is a younger horse. She is just 4 years old compared to Selamore and Ame. Ame is a little old in the tooth, you could say. And as you mentioned earlier, Narendra Lagat, yes, he knows this track very well. He's been a master of this track and he knows how to get his horses fit for the Pune racing season. So, I would give the chances to Red Dust and Selamore. It's between these two. And also, I agree with Samir to add into the mix, it is Anushka.
All right, let's take a look at the second race. This is extremely exciting because we've got a very promising 3-year-old, Son of a Gun, also from Narendra Lagat's yard. We've talked about how he holds a lot of good cards during the Pune season. It is the home track for him. You've heard horses for courses. I'd say there are trainers for courses and Narendra Lagat is certainly one for the Pune course. Now, Son of a Gun is extremely promising. He's won 2 from 3, beaten some very useful horses, giving them weight. This includes Emperor Roderick, who lured the colours of the highly thought of Snowfall. What was impressive is that he quickened from the lead, when he last won over a 5-furlong trip. And he has the action of a really nice horse. While many are wary of the 3-year-olds tackling the older horses, we've already discussed that, especially in Class 3. It's not a Class 4 race. This is a Class 3 race. I don't believe he'll stop here. I think he's a pure Class 1 horse. For me, he's the one that everyone has to beat. Fortune Teller is 1 for 1 and will be an interesting runner here. For me, it's Son of a Gun and Fortune Teller in this one.
Okay, I have to agree with you there. Son of a Gun. Now he's very aptly named, and we've watched Son of a Gun perform, and he's very versatile. He's done it from the front. He's come from behind as well, and I'm sure that Srikanth agrees as well because we watched him run last time, and he was mightily impressive. Son of a Gun is my pick for the race, and I think Remus, who's been very consistent, should run Son of a Gun close. So I think it's Son of a Gun and Remus for this race for me.
Absolutely, I agree with you there on that, Samir. I remember Son of a Gun running the 5-furlong race in Pune, and Dashrath Singh, he got start left by 4 lengths. And in a 5-furlong race, he comes out and wins the race by a length after getting start left by 4 lengths. That shows your class. And Son of a Gun, he's a very big made horse. He can tackle the distance and he's got some quick foot. So almost he's the day's best according to me.
Well, that's interesting because it is a 6-furlong race, Class 3, a 3-year-old. Be interesting, but I agree with you. He's an extremely talented horse, and you did say he's big striding. I've never seen him live, but you did say he's a big striding horse. So on a track like Pune, if he can get out early, get to the front, and he'll be hard to run down. Let's take a look at the next race, the third race. Now this is for maidens, and maidens are always tricky because you never know how much one's improved from the Bombay season over the summer coming into the monsoon. It'll be interesting to see how they do well. Now, the track work in this maiden set, from what I've looked at, has a limited pointer to form. But for me, it's House of Lords and Fiery Red. The unraced My Princess has worked well too, so it'll be interesting to see how she gets on. But for me, it's House of Lords, Fiery Red, and My Princess.
Okay, so House of Lords, yes, very well bred, and I kind of like House of Lords as well. But I've placed in second as my second pick for this race, only because I think Balenciaga, who's been does definitely have the experience on inside, and I put Balenciaga as my first pick, followed in by House of Lords, who's beautifully bred, and my third pick would be Doofy, because I think Doofy would be nicely tuned for this race as well, and is decently bred. So it's Balenciaga, House of Lords, and Doofy for the third race for me.
Well, it's pretty hard to pick the maidens, as you mentioned earlier, and also the track has been opened only for a month, and it rained about 10 days, so the trainers couldn't do much to bring their horses into fitness. So the bloodline will come into play over here. So in that case, I would give the upper hand to House of Lords here, and also Balenciaga because of the run benefits, the experience which she has garnered over the period of time.
So, Srikanth, Samir, I did take a look at Balenciaga, and for me, it was a saying that my father, I actually remember him telling me this at Ascot. He said, if there's a 3-year-old or a maiden that's opposed against a horse that's well bred, who isn't exposed, go with the one that's better bred. And it plays out more often than not. I just feel Balenciaga has been fairly exposed, and I always thought that he'd be a bit better, but just hasn't shown up to the races. All right, let's take a look at race number 4. Now, Endeavour, how do you oppose this horse? Mathematically, and I like math, mathematically, he isn't the best on handicap because there are others he's raced against and they really should be reversing that form. But how do you oppose a horse that's constantly defying the handicapper? He's always beating the handicapper. The handicapper must be scratching his head because this fellow is just winning them off the reel. And I actually believe he's going to go and win again. My concern is one, he's stepping up to 7 furlongs for the first time. I don't think that's going to be a problem, but until they really go over that distance, you never know. Enid Blyton right at the bottom of the scale could be the one who could trouble him the most. For me, Endeavour, Enid Blyton, and back to the top of the scale, Hokian, however you want to pronounce his name, he's the one for me. I think he's a nice horse. He's always very consistent, and I remember watching him in Bombay. I think he's a very nice horse too.
Okay, in regards to Endeavour's never seen this distance, 7 furlongs, and that's one reason why I'm, a little staying away from Endeavour. But my pick for this race has to be Sultan Suleiman. Now, Sultan Suleiman is a gutsy performer, has, seen some very classy opposition as well, and he's well-rounded, and we all know that he can always give his best. Now, followed in closely by Victorious Sermon. A very consistent performer, has been doing well, and I feel that these two should be right there at the busy end. Now, number 1, Walk-In. Now, Walk-In's his last run was very impressive, right? His manner of victory was very good, and I personally liked it. I was there, and I have seen the horse in person as well, and I know Walk-In is going to give all his heart out. So I think it's going to be between. My first pick happens to be Sultan Suleiman, followed in by Victorious Sermon and Walk-In.
It's a class 1 race, and all these horses have proven themselves throughout time. And again, this will be one very well contested race for the day. I'm excited to witness this. But my take on this, Sultan Suleiman, he's been very consistent. He's faced this class one too many times. And bottom of the weighing scale over there, Enid Blyton will have a great chance carrying just 50 kilos in this 7 furlong. 7 furlong shouldn't matter, but joker in the pack, pun intended, is Aukwin out of Phoenix. Because this horse raced in the sprinters in Chennai and finished 6th, but met the best of the best sprinters in the country. So Aukwin does have an upper hand here too.
All right, let's take a look at number 5. Now, the unbeaten exclusive looks pretty unexposed in this race, in this class 2 set, and it's hard to oppose him. Nolan brings some good form over from Hyderabad, but it's unlucky that he's taken the kind of caliber of a horse that exclusive is. So for me, exclusive Nolan Springgrove.
Okay, so it is exclusive for me for this race. Exclusive is one very well. So exclusive is the other day is best for me. I think it's exclusive race to lose. But I would like to throw my hat in the ring with number 1, right? That's Desert Fire. I think Desert Fire having the inside draw and the apprentice to help. It's going to be really speedy out of the gate and make things really interesting for exclusive. And I think it's going to be a very good place prospect over here. And the other one I think who's been running very consistently happens to be Baby Bazooka. Baby Bazooka is another place chance over here, and but everyone has to be exclusive in this race, and it's going to be exclusive race to lose. So exclusive it is for me.
Again, this is going to be an interesting race, a class 3 race. Here, exclusive carrying just 50 kilos has won in the same class, so you have to be really mindful of that. Exclusive has a great chance in this race. Also, Springgrove, looking at the consistency, she's been struggling to win in the class 3, but she is knocking on the door. And I completely agree with Samir here. Desert Fire will have the place chance because Narendra Lagad again, he would have fine-tuned his horses to run in the Pune track.
All right, moving to the 6th race. Now, this is the one that I'm really excited about, to tell you the truth, because this is a horse that I was very impressed with. Magelletto, very, very impressive, I thought. Really exciting horse. When he won his last start, he was out in the lead. A horse, a baby, with such little experience out in the lead should have idled. Srikanth, you've seen this happen. They just tend to go to sleep a bit. They tend to get a bit distracted. Not this fellow. I mean, when Trevor asked him, he kind of just changed legs and he just stretched out, and he's got a lovely action, beautifully balanced. He's a bit top of the ground, his action, and so I hope it doesn't rain for his sake in Pune. He is a bit of the, he's a horse that stretches out very nicely. I cannot see this horse get beat. I was impressed with Rodrigo when I saw him win his Class 5 in Bombay, but my gosh, he's done nothing ever since. So for me, and Dragoness, I mean, a length behind Miracle, but again, nothing to show for it. Struggling in Class 4, really shouldn't be here. For me, Maggietto is really the day's certainty, if you ask me, from Rodrigo and Dragoness.
Well, Maggietto, what can I say? Very impressive last time out. Won very well and should be, very hard to beat in this race. And Maggietto did it very well. So I think, with Trevor on as well, should be the one to beat in this race. Now, apart from that, I'd like to, also put in Kardashian as a good place prospect over here. Right, ran fairly well last time out. And also the speedy Power of Neath. Now, Power of Neath is, I give it a decent chance over here, but it's something of, it's going to take a lot for it to get close to Maggietto, but Power of Neath also should stand a fair chance in this race, but Maggietto it is for me.
I think we are all in unison, and even I agree that Maggietto is too hard to beat in this race. 3-year-old running against older horses, and as you mentioned, Trevor had proved everything in the previous outing, so why not again? And if we had to put something into the mix, I think Mystical Rose with Malesh Naraidu claiming a 3.5 kilo allowance might be there to challenge Maggietto, but not near the post.
All right, and the last race of the day is the 7th race. This is a Class 5 race. Northern Singer is interesting. Returns to Class 5 after 11 unsuccessful races in Class 4. Better still, the last time he ran in Class 5, he won. And though he's not yet back at that exact mark, he's about 1.5 kilos away from that mark. I mean, he's waited a long time. If you're patient and you want to find a horse here that's found a mark, he might be the one. Bhima has won in Class 4 and he had shed his maiden in Pune, so he knows the track, he appreciates it. I'm going to go Bhima, Northern Singer and TriStar.
Okay, so yes, those are some interesting choices you guys have put out over there, and yes, the last race was probably the most intriguing for me, because when I went through it, I found quite a few that stood with decent chances over here. Northern Lights, Cypher, Brilliant Light, and even Beamer for that matter. And I picked Cypher because Cypher's last one was quite impressive. I found that quite taking, and even Brilliant Light for that matter. Now, I remember Brilliant Light running the first time out and coming from way off and managing to finish second. But then hasn't, the form has kind of tapered off. And I just give it a good chance over here. I think it should run a good place, and even Beamer for that matter. Beamer should also stand a good chance over here. So it's Cypher, Brilliant Light, and Beamer for me for the last race.
Me going in the last for all the races, I think you experts have picked the right ones. I have to corroborate with whatever you guys are picking, and my take on it is the same. Northern Singer is my first option, with Beamer coming in close second chance, and Cypher with the third. I think me and Samir, we have the same ideals, and Northern Singer should be able to do this pretty easily in this race, with Cypher and Beamer fighting out for the minor places.
All right, guys, fantastic. It's been interesting discussing this race card with you, and to all our viewers back home, we hope you have a successful day. Bet responsibly, but do have a good day. And Srikanth, Samir, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back with analysis of Friday's race card as well. Until then, goodbye, thank you, and may the horse be with you.